Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be back in the studio again and talking to you all. It's been a few days. I like to try to do this every day, but I've started doing so many more things that I'm not always here. And this last week, and I've got a couple of things that you'll see once I get them edited and put up of what I've been doing. But one thing that we do here is we do a lot of recycling and just taking things apart and repurposing them and things like that, and then taking scrap and putting it where it's supposed to go. And then of course I reuse a lot of that stuff in the studio I'm building. We're going to be using for example, we took all those old vacuum cleaners apart that you'll see, and we got massive bucket of nuts and bolts, which people are like, nuts and bolts? What? Why are you talking about nuts and bolts? But here's the thing, is nuts and bolts, first of all, are expensive. But not only that, people don't think about nuts and bolts. Now, I didn't know that I was going to be talking about nuts and bolts when I started this, or I would have brought one over to hold one up to show you, but maybe I will, because I've always liked nuts and bolts. But metal, so if it's stainless steel, if it's brass, if it's galvanized, and even the different grades of steel really make a difference in how well a nut and a bolt work. And what do nuts and bolts have to do? They have to hold things together. So if you have like a really crummy nut and bolt, then the thing that you bolt together is going to fall apart. So these little tiny things, like the building block of anything you make, a nut and a bolt, is so important. So old nuts and bolts that are in good shape, particularly stainless steel ones, which is what we've salvaged, will last forever. And the dye process that I use, it's acid dyes and it's a wet bath. So they're not going to rust. They're not going to corrode. And anything that we bolt together with stainless steel bolts, that thing is going to last. Now, you see behind me all these little strips and pieces. And then, of course, I can just show you this little, you see me stitch some of this little stuff. These are like the nuts and bolts of putting things together in my stitching. If you're going to really be strict about it, I guess the thread is really what holds it together, but also the little pieces hold together the big pieces. And every single stitch or piece or anything that you put in does need to be quality. And if you salvage stuff you have already, two things happen. Things get used, they get repurposed, they don't go into a landfill. It's better for everybody if we use our resources in the way they're intended. And so I like to try to use every resource I have to make everything I have. And it gives me great pleasure to work that way. So that's my thoughts for today. And I really enjoyed talking to you all again. So if you like my video, like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos. Have a good day.